Carl and Damon here from Brrraaains A Head-Banging Life, gbhblofficial for short. Tier list time. We're going to be ranking 30 iconic video game moments. Well, that we think are iconic. Some of them are famously iconic. Others that are more personal. We thought we'd choose 30 random ones. Some I know, some you know, some we both know, and put them in a tier list of what means the most to us. I think it's fair to say that we both get emotionally invested in games.
Yes.
And I think that's why a lot of these will stand out. But some of them, not necessarily on the emotional level because it makes you feel something, more because what a moment that is, that just simply exists. I've got a list here. I'll keep it to my side so I can actually see the damn thing. And we've got our tier list here. We're ranking them in iconic, e.g. they are iconic. Wonderful. Memorable, e.g. you remember them right in the middle, but not necessarily think they're the best or anything like that. An okay moment that maybe people think are great, but you're just like, yeah, it's okay. And they're not so iconic. You're kind of like, why is that an iconic moment? You know?
Okay,
that aspect. There's 30 of them. And we're going to start with one I'm not sure if you will have quite the same feeling about. It is the Asylum Demon arrival in Dark Souls. This is the original Dark Souls game, and it's the very first boss you meet. I chose this as an iconic moment, potentially, because of this. Think about the first time you played Dark Souls. You've heard about it, you've heard it's hard, you don't really get it and all that. You come out your cell and you're that with a little guy and all that, and you pick up your shitty little sword that's broken, and that cool, and you walk into that big room, and then the giant Asylum Demon with its fat ass just jumps down from the top, and you're like, the fuck? Everyone died here. Instantly dead. And you're like, how the fuck am I supposed to? You try to fight it and watch you do no damage to it. Of course, you would obviously, the idea would actually have to run out of that room through another door at the top and then work your way through until eventually you're able to come back and kick that guy's ass. But as an opening, an introduction to Dark Souls, you were like, the fuck? I remember dying in that. I remember going back later on and whipping him and being like, ha! You know? But yeah, for me, that's why I wanted to include it, just because there's no better introduction to Dark Souls than just getting your ass handed to you within the first 2 minutes of the game. Have you played this?
I have played it, yeah.
Do you remember this?
I do.
Big thing with that. It's got a fucking stick or a scythe or something.
I do remember it, but I don't really think it's iconic.
I'm not necessarily gonna. I'm not gonna put it in the top. I'm gonna put it right in the middle at memorable because it's memorable. Yeah, we agree on that.
It's definitely memorable. Yeah.
Okay then. This is a good one. This is one you will be aware of. Resident Evil 4. What moment might you think is quite memorable, iconic from Resident Evil 4? There are a few that work quite nicely. I chose when you're leaving a house, and as you leave that house, you hear the sound of a chainsaw, and then that guy arrives up the hill with the bag in his head and a chainsaw. And you're like, okay, this is a bit different. And almost everyone probably died at him, and it's like instant death because he cuts into you. But yeah, so basically the chainsaw guy, the chainsaw moment for Resident Evil 4, probably very scary.
Yeah, definitely very memorable.
Very memorable. But memorable again, isn't it? It's in the middle.
It's definitely memorable, but yeah, not iconic.
After?
Yeah,
Dark Souls?
I think after, yeah.
Agreed. We'll leave it there. Not great start to a memorable already. Okay, we're doing Dark Souls again. I've chosen the second Dark Souls, but I've gone for a personal one. So this is one that maybe, I don't know if you ever completed Dark Souls?
Would have been a long time ago, I think.
I think you'd remember this if that was the case. So, for me, I struggled with Dark Souls in many areas. I initially was going to choose the Bell Gargoyles as it, because I probably struggled the most with the Bell Gargoyles early on in the game. But eventually, when I made it past the Bell Gargoyles, and I kind of got my groove down in Dark Souls, I don't really remember struggling anywhere else, aside from going to some areas too early and realising it was a mistake and then backing out and running away in that aspect, until I hit the iconic pairing, often listed as the #1 boss of all Dark Souls games, let alone the first one. And holy shit, I probably spent days trying to get past these guys. It is, of course, Ornstein and Smaug. The pairing of the big guy, the small, fast one. Kill one, the other is imbued with the other's fucking power. The trick was, I think, to kill Ornstein, which is the faster, slower one. Because while the other one would get imbued with his power, it was easier to deal with. Jesus Christ, those bosses are hard. Jesus Christ, the satisfaction of getting past them. That was the last stumbling point for me, Dark Souls. After that, except for the end boss, although I have a funny story about the end boss in there, but that's by the by. This was one moment where I was like, I love this game. I'm going to beat this game. Getting past Ornstein and Smell.
I know it, but I don't remember doing it.
So it's quite personal to me more than anything else. So I'm putting it in wonderful. It's going to the higher above the Asylum Demon just because it's an iconic Dark Souls boss. It really, really is. Do you remember the game Eternal Darkness, Sanities of a Queen? Mm-hmm. Do you remember that game on the GameCube? Quite a cool horror game.
Yep.
Really, really lent into the H.P. Lovecraft world. Lots of imaginative stuff. Most memorable for its trickery. It's designed to make you think things are going mad.
Yep.
That aspect. Which one would you have chosen? If you could think of one particular trick that game does on you, which one do you think is the most terrifying? Or the one that you remember the most? So some of them include you exploding into pieces suddenly. Going into a room and finding it upside down. Going into the room and finding there's no exit or the doors are there.
I might be getting the wrong game. It's the one with like the two doors and the TV.
No.
No, what am I thinking of?
I don't know what you're thinking
I'm
of.
thinking about, like, no, I must be thinking about a completely different game.
It turned out a third person, you kind of set across time, you play as different characters in different worlds, and it's got the madness thing. The madder you get, the more crazy things become.
I'm a different game because
I thought you'd remember this one, but the one one that I think is iconic, you probably said it if you know the game. It's when it deletes your save file. It's when it implies the game takes control and goes to the options and goes to delete save file and just deletes it. Mm. And then of course it's a trickery, it's a madness more than anything else. No, but that's the one that makes them go.
Definitely done with that.
It's wonderful. It's gonna go after Ornstein and Smau. Okay, I don't think you've ever played this game. Dust and Elysian Tale.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely not.
Dust and Elysian Tale is a wonderful indie game, mainly on prominence on the Xbox 360. A really cool 2D hack and slash fighter with one of the best video game soundtracks, but also one of the most emotionally captivating stories. I'll try and avoid spoilers here because I think eventually you may end up playing it if it's ever re-released and remade and all that. But this is a game that'll make you cry. It's also one of those that does a redemption storyline, a redemption arc for a character that's got amnesia and finds out basically that he's been a fucking villain his entire life and wants to make up for it. I'm gonna have to do spoilers, aren't I? I have to talk about it, so sorry. But ultimately, that arc, while he will achieve, he will not survive it. He will die in his redemption. The end, the ending cutscene, the ending part where Dust is in the volcano. He's killed his old boss, the one he used to work for, but he's too weak to leave. And I can't remember the name of their fairy, the character, your friend, as he tries to beg you to leave, and it's just like, it's okay. I'm okay. Like, I've done, I'm good. Like, that is fucking, like, it gives me goosebumps. Iconic.
Sounds like
it is iconic. It's generally beautiful. Beautiful stuff. Just kills me. When you do know. Straightforward. Nothing emotionally activating to this. You can see the picture. It is, of course, simply this. Green Hill Zone from the original Sonic the Hedgehog. Just that. That opening music. That imagery. If you play it now, it doesn't just give you nostalgic fucking feels. You're like, Sonic, you're there. Green Hill Zone.
It's iconic.
Top.
It's gotta be easy.
Top, right?
Yeah.
There's just, everybody knows it.
Doesn't matter what age you are. It's a...
You say to anyone who isn't even playing games, what's Green Hill Zone? They'll probably go, is that Sonic the Hedgehog? And then it's like going, dun, dun, dun. You know, start doing the music straight away. Talking about emotional moments.
I've seen the picture, man. One of my favourite characters, man.
We are talking about Mass Effect 3 here, and we are talking about the death of Mordin. In particular, a line. Had to be somebody, had to be me, someone else might have gotten it wrong. And with that, you realise this is a sacrifice that matters.
Heartbreaking because all through number 2, he was my main party.
Yeah.
And he's a really cool character, you know.
Yep.
Yeah. So
his sacrifice in number 3 is one of the big, massive gut punches. I'm happy for this to go in iconic.
Yeah.
I'm happy to put this above Dust because it's a similar thing, sacrifice, but Mordin's probably got more impact because you played it as well.
Yeah.
I think so. Okay, so this was specific for me. This is a personal choice more than anything else. It is a game called Little Inferno. Now, I've talked a lot about this game, my adoration of this game. It is a simple fire, it burn things on the screen. But as I've explained in the past, go check out lots of videos on the site about this particular game. This game has massive, massive depth and twists and turns that shocked me. And I've chosen the first shocking moment, where I realised this is not as simple and straightforward it is. And it is, of course, when Sugar Lumps, on the other side of the wall, writes to you and says, in a really sinister way, that she can see into the fire. And she dreams of burning up and going up the chimney as ashes. And I was like, the fuck? The fuck? Now, there are loads I could have chosen here. I could have chosen the moment where she blows up her house. That. I could have chosen the moment where you open the gates to the factory. I could have chosen the moment when Miss Nancy leaves in the rocket. But I've chosen a moment where I'm playing this thinking, this is really satisfying. Burning and combining things and earning this and getting letters that are funny and silly and occasionally a little bit strange. Because there is an earlier scene where Sugar Lumps reveals that she's on the other side of the wall and knocks on it. And the weatherman implies the world might be coming to an end because of an ice age. But this was the first moment I thought, fuck me, that's sinister. As she talks about wanting to leave and burning in the fire.
Still ain't played that game yet, but so I'm slowly getting through games at the moment, so eventually one day I will do.
Unfortunately, it's not available on consoles. That really sucks.
Shit,
It's a mobile game only, unfortunately. If it was in consoles, I'd be able to talk about it even more, but that's not the case. The thing is, I reflect that this is very personal. So I'm just going to put this in wonderful, but at the bottom of wonderful, because it's so wonderful for me. It still gives me goosebumps. Ever played Secret Monkey Island?
No.
Okay, right. So this is a point-and-click game, classic point-and-click game. What do we all think of when we think of Secret Monkey Island? One thing, right? Insult sword fighting. Which is a sequence in the game where you sword fight, but you don't really sword fight. You throw insults at each other. And that's how you do damage. The barbs, the level of insults. And they're very silly and over the top. And it's very, very funny. Top of memorable. Yeah. Insult sword fighting is famous. Yep. Do you remember Condemned? Criminal Origins.
Yeah.
What do you remember about that game?
Very dark, in a prison.
Part.
Criminals, yeah.
Okay, it wasn't completely in prison. There were other areas. And the reason why I'm saying that is because the area I've chosen is quite specific. It's when you go to a mall, an abandoned mall. The mannequins.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Right,
yeah,
you remember it now, yeah?
Yeah.
And it's the mannequins that move. And then you turn around and they've all surrounded you. And you're like, that is generally creepy as fuck. Yeah?
Yep.
But it is a horror thing that's been done time and time before.
Yeah.
But often when you sort of see lists that talk about best horror moments, Condemned's mannequin stuff is there. However, I reckon this one just goes in okay.
Yeah, there's too many good ones in the ones above.
Yep, agreed. Modern Warfare 2. Do you remember? Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. You already know why I've chosen this one.
Yeah.
It is, of course, in here, because it's of the controversy more than anything else, it is the no Russian level. Very controversial, of course, at the time. You shoot a load of innocent people in an airport. It is a shocking moment, quite bloodthirsty.
Yeah.
It stands out for that reason. Memorable, right?
Very memorable, yeah. Yeah, definitely,
It's probably got to go top, right?
Yeah, I mean, literally...
You remember, like I said, Modern Warfare 2. You knew what I was talking about.
Modern Warfare 2 is probably one of the best Call of Duty games anyway.
Yeah, agreed. It is. Because as well, isn't that the one with the nuke?
Yes.
So that's got two iconic moments. Yeah. Because I did think about the nuke as well, but I think I left it off. When I say Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, what might be a moment there? And admittedly, it's harder because it's open world, so iconic moments may not exist. But I chose this one based on more how it made me feel when I did it.
There's so many things that I could probably think of in Oblivion.
I'll just say it. Emerging from the sewers. So this is the opening part of the game, and you obviously start in the sewers. And all of that. And it's dark and it's murky and all that. And then you come out the sewers, and it's that vibrant green world. And I thought that was so fucking cool. It's similar to Fallout 3's coming out and seeing the destroyed world.
Yeah.
But I love that. It really stands out for me.
So many things you'll pick from that game, but yeah, that is a great moment. Iconic?
No.
Memorable? Yeah.
Where are we putting it? At the end, after Resident Evil 4's Chainsaw Guy, yeah?
Yeah.
No, higher than that. I feel like it's more memorable. Yeah, we'll leave it there.
Oblivion and Skyrim are probably like the two greatest games ever.
Oh, for sure. Okay, what are we up to next? Psychomantis, Metal Gear Solid. There were many moments in Metal Gear Solid that you could utilise and say iconic, but Psycho Mantis, because back in the day being absolutely baffled and confused by the fact that you could read your mind.
Yep.
And how you get around that aspect. It's still so cool. It's very, very cool. Reading your memory card, talking about some of the save files if you have Konami games on it, aspects like that. That's wonderful.
Telling you to change the controller.
Yeah.
Pull out port 1 and put in port 2.
Yeah, so fucking unusual, so clever. What do you reckon? Wonderful?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's in wonderful, yeah.
Top? No, I want to do smell. Yeah, top of wonderful, yeah?
Above Call of Duty, I think.
Call of Duty is memorable.
Oh, sorry, wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Psycho Mantis is way more iconic.
Yeah.
Top of wonderful above Ornstein and Smau. Yeah? Red Dead Redemption. Did you ever play it?
No, I haven't. I want to, but I know it's such a long game.
Well, the sequel's out as well. That's even bigger, yeah.
I'll get there eventually. Like I've got like a list which I'm getting through.
Yeah, it's like Grand Theft Auto, but Old West. Basically, it's simple enough, and I think this one I'm going to put an okay straight away, but probably top of okay. It's riding into Mexico. It's the first time you ride into Mexico on your horse in Red Dead Redemption. That was such a cool moment, and where the music plays, the change in the landscape, very, very cool. But, you know, memorable on that front more than anything else. I know you're saying, really, Cole, you chose that and not the ending. No, because the ending still fucking pisses me off. Not because it's bad, because it isn't fair. It's not fair what happens. Even though it's a good story, arc and finish, it's not fair what happens.
I'll find out.
Super Mario 64. What is it? It's emerging from that pipe and seeing Peach's castle in 3D for the first time ever. First Mario game in 3D.
Yeah.
And just being like, oh my god. Oh my god.
Yeah. I mean, the amount of times Mario and Sonic battle each other, and I think we've always had them near our top and everyone's we've done. And again, it's got to go near the top.
It's got to go near the top.
Mario, and I would have to put probably even above Sonic. I would.
No, because we're not judging Mario. We're judging the specific moment.
So then behind Sonic.
No, I think iconic as well, but I think, after Sonic. Because Sonic's got, Sonic has more of a wider reach.
I can see the picture.
Yeah. It's arguably one of the most iconic moments in gaming.
Shocking moments.
It's Aerith. The death of Aerith via the hands of Sephiroth. Not spoilers, if you don't know that by now, from Final Fantasy VII. Of course, this is a character we all loved and then killed unceremoniously in a very emotional and touching scene. It's iconic.
Yeah.
In gaming, it's one of the most iconic moments ever.
Top moments too, yeah. Because I mean, just with the scene and the music and the slow motion, yeah, it's definitely up the top.
Top. It's one of the most. I mean, again, you're talking like in gaming. It's considered the most iconic moments in gaming. It's top, right?
Yeah,
it is because it's got the emotional value as well. Yeah, let's put it top. I agree. Probably not worthy of the top because I think it's more personal than anything else. But it's the apocalypse, Majora's Mask. So this is when you let the moon crash and you see the destruction and death of Termina. It's quite shocking. Of course, ultimately, to get to that scene, you have to be willing to let the clock count down. Which, obviously, you may avoid doing for most of the game. I think everybody at once will have at least done it just to see what happens. Because of that, ultimately, it can't go in the top.
Memorable, do you think, maybe?
Yeah, but maybe near the end.
Yeah.
Because it's not a thing you will see unless you choose to do it.
I think behind Oblivion, I think.
Yeah, ahead of Resident Evil?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm down with that.
Zelda,
Back to Mass Effect. Mass Effect 2. Mass Effect 1 was a lot of fun, playing along, playing out. Start of Mass Effect 2, you get a little bit of team, you get a little ship, you're all cool and all that. And then your ship gets fucking wrecked in the opening sequence of Mass Effect 2. Gets wrecked, you get killed. And you're like, what the fuck just happened?
Amazing scene, man.
It's quite an opening. It's one of the reasons why Mass Effect 2 is arguably the best of the Mass Effect games. It is an incredible opening sequence. Wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, I love the entire franchise, but as much as I would love just to get in the top, it's not going to go in the top.
Wonderful,
yeah,
right?
Wonderful, yeah.
Head of Ornstein and Smell.
I can't judge those ones because obviously I don't know them. So,
where would you put it in Wonderful?
I mean, I would say behind Psycho Mantis, but obviously I can't. The other three, I don't know.
No, we'll do it. We'll do it. I think that's fair. I was interested to have your opinion on it. Contender for the top. The very first zombie in Resident Evil. We are talking about the scene where it turns its head to see you.
Yep.
That's iconic. It is.
Yeah, I mean, I think about the first time I played this game.
Yeah.
You're talking about like 92 maybe.
Oh no, it came out in 95, 96, so it would have been that, yeah.
So, it would have been...
Mid-90s, yeah.
On the Sega Saturn, it would have done, yeah. So, yeah, it's definitely memorable.
It's a scene that's been redone in games since. In Resident Evil, they've always made it sure include it. In films, they've been referenced it and made jokes and references to it. It's near the top, isn't it? How high? What do you think?
It's hard because it's a horror element against a sad element, and
well, it won't go top.
Is it? I mean, is it more iconic than a Sonic or Mario?
Mario in 3D because a lot of people might have played Mario in 2D. Maybe, let's put it in between Sonic and Mario. Yeah, keep Sonic higher. Yeah, I'm down with that. Specific to me, I think Thomas was alone. I could have chosen several scenes from this. Famously, if you do not know, I'll repeat it here. Thomas Alone is one of my all-time favourite games ever made. I rank it in my top 10 games of all time. It's a game that in the last few, when I played it going a few years back, a moment in that game caused such a reaction in me, I had to physically leave the game, walk away, and take 5 minutes just to let it sink and breathe because I just couldn't believe what the game wanted me to do. It made me, I had to do it. And yes, I know why that has to happen. And I support that and I'm okay with it now. I've gotten over it. But at the time, I had to put the controller down and went, I'm not doing this now. You can't ask me to do this now. I've got to walk away and take a moment. However, I'm choosing one of the lighter moments. The more emotionally captivating, wonderful moments. And it is, of course, when Thomas gets uploaded to the internet for 7 seconds. And in those 7 seconds, he sees so much. He sees cakes and cats and cake being a lie and arrows to the knee and all these things in 7 seconds, which gives him purpose and a belief and understanding what he will have to do to continue on. It's the uploading to the internet, the climb to that wonderful sparks and what happens following it. Wonderful. I'm going to put it, because it's personal, I'm going to put it alongside Little Inferno ahead of it, but keep it low as well because it's not fair for me to too high. Play Thomas Was Alone. It's one of the best games ever made.
Is that another mobile game?
No, it's on the Xbox. It's on a mobile and Xbox. Moving on to something more fun, less emotionally draining. Banjo-Kazooie. And I've chosen the end, the quiz. Because you've gone through that game, you played this 3D platformer, and you picked up all these things, and now you're going to be quizzed about what you've just experienced. And that is utterly hilariously absurd and fun way. And it's not even a final boss, but it's a fun sort of in-between thing that happens. I think that's cool.
Wonderful, man.
I can't go that high. No, I can't. I was going to go okay. Because ultimately as well, while I do like it, it's not, well remembered in that. I'm going to put it okay, but bottom of okay.
I'll go then.
Now, while of course I don't think it's going to go not so iconic, this is part one of a series of videos where we'll be covering more in the future.
Yeah.
And then eventually, hopefully, deciding on the most iconic game and moment of all time. Eventually, hopefully. Up next, Tomb Raider, T-Rex. The arrival of the T-Rex. Thoughts on this?
Memorable.
Memorable?
Yeah, memorable.
Near the end?
Yeah.
Yeah. We just never played Tomb Raider back in the day, so that impact wasn't really there.
Yeah.
Sonic Adventure. The first level, the whale that chases you. Now, it was very cool at the time, but now in reflection, it's completely scripted. You're just moving forward. It can't really get you unless you stop dead.
Yeah.
It's just very cool looking.
It's Sonic, but obviously it's no Sonic original, so, but I don't think it doesn't go iconic, maybe okay.
Yeah, it's okay, innit? I'm going to put it bottom of okay, because it's literally a very short scene, of the whale chasing you. I just thought it was worth including. BioShock Infinite. You know it?
Yep.
What do you reckon I'm going to reference? What moment from BioShock Infinite?
The ending, I think.
There's always a lighthouse. It is, of course, the ending of BioShock Infinite. And the reveal of there always being a lighthouse and it being parallel worlds. And that Rapture is just another flip side of... I forgot the name of it. Alexandria.
Yeah.
It's just the other side of it. That shocking moment.
Yeah.
And you see the lighthouses all over the place. Yeah, that's incredible. What do you reckon?
It's a really, really good scene, yeah.
Near the top of Wonderful.
Yeah.
Ahead or below Psycho Mantis? I can't want to put it ahead.
So
Because I'm a bigger fan of Bioshock.
Yeah, it's on my, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to put it ahead, yeah. Why the fuck not?
Yeah.
It's our list.
It's our
Exactly,
choice,
our choice. Portal 2.
Never played Portal.
Okay, so I'm a big fan of Portal games, but I'm a bigger fan of Portal 2 more than anything else, which refined it. And Portal 2 shocked me with its end at the end, purely because of that moment when basically, let me describe it. You're fighting Wheatley, who has gone insane, and you kind of seem like you've been beaten. And then you get knocked on your back and you fall backwards and you look up and it's the moon. And the moment sinks in, you're gonna portal him to the fucking moon. And I was like, oh my god, that is so fucking cool. And that's what you have to do. You portal him to the fucking moon. That was so cool. That realization when you look back and then it's like, she's like, and then it's the moon. And it just, everything clicks. Like, oh my god, I have to portal him to the moon. Amazing. Incredibly memorable for Portal fans. There's that problem.
Yeah.
So it's going to go into it's going to go bottom of memorable because of that reason.
Yeah.
Do you remember the darkness? The black creature that comes out of you. You're hitman, and he's got like the Jackie creature and attacks, and he's got like limbs.
It sounds familiar.
Okay, so you may not know it too well. This is going to go not so iconic. It is the first one for it. But do you remember in that, when you sit with your girlfriend Jenny before she gets killed, you go to visit her at home, she's watching a movie. I can't remember what the movie is, but you are able in that game to sit with her and watch that entire movie. And not move. If you don't press the button in the controller, she'll fall asleep in you. You can sit there and watch that entire movie.
What's the film?
I can't remember what it is. It's not black and white film.
Yeah.
It would have been copyright free.
Yeah.
Do you not remember that?
No, I don't know.
It's very cool. Few are ever going to really do it. There's no achievement attached or anything. I think there's an achievement attached for like sitting there for 10 minutes or so. But ultimately, not so iconic. You know, I've got to be realistic here. You know, I thought it was cool. Do you ever play Spec Ops: The Line?
No.
Okay, Spec Ops: The Line was a really fascinating one because it felt like any other third-person shooter, army men shooter thing. If you know the game, you know what I'm about to say here. And then this game deals with some of the heaviest subjects I'd ever seen in a game of this style. It deals with mental health. It deals with the issues that come from combat. And nowhere is that better exemplified than the white phosphorus. You know what white phosphorus is? It's that burning liquid stuff that burns.
Yeah.
And in it, you make, as the captain, the call to drop white phosphorus on what you believe is enemies and end up killing a lot of civilians. You have to walk through that charred bodies afterwards. It is incredibly upsetting. It's incredibly dark because basically Spec Up the Line is all about mental health and PTSD and aspects like that.
Yeah.
But white phosphorus, you know, if you've seen it, you've played the game, you know how fucked up that moment is. You know, a fucking mother and child charred and burnt holding each other that you are responsible for.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's memorable. It's going to go high and memorable. I'm going to put it after No Russian because it's a similar style but very messed up. A contender for the top of iconic. If I say these 3 words, you are instantly going to know it. Would you kindly? Would you kindly? It's the trigger words. The trigger words that makes you do, but you're being manipulated.
Do you know what? I've played Bioshock.
Wow.
I've not played Bioshock in about 15 years, do you know?
Wow, I can't believe you've forgotten that. It's one of the most iconic moments in gaming. Would you kindly? It's what reveals at the end that you've been lied to by Atlas. And that him pretending and saying, would you kindly do this and would you kindly do that has been controlling you.
I think like the last one I played, like the first one's got to be like 2010 maybe.
Okay, well, if that's the case, then you need to go back and play it because it's remastered.
Oh yeah. I know it is, but come on Game Pass. I'm not paying like 30 quid for it.
It's quite cheap these days.
Yeah.
No, fair enough. It's going to go up after Mario because it's after Mario, but above Morden because it's more iconic than that. We have 2 left. One you know, one you don't. Ever played a game Love You to Bits? A mobile game, really, really clever idea with a wonderful soundtrack. That I really enjoyed the system of it, where you kind of change time to change how the level looks to then complete it. In it, you were trying to find a body part of your destroyed companion, a robot companion. Through it, you can pick up optional devices and things that show you their time together. That he was a space explorer, Cosmo, and alone and all that, and ended up creating and building a robotic woman to keep him company. But he gave her life, not sex stuff. You know, not that. But they fell in love with each other. She grew, whatever.
That sounds like some fucking porno.
It's not. It's a really, really wholesome game. What I've chosen from Love You to Bits, if you know it, is the gut wrench moment. Is the realization that... So basically, a doctor... No, he didn't build her. He found her because the doctor created her. He found her and helped her, and he ran away from this doctor to keep away from it. Stop laughing. You're ruining the moment. But this doctor wants her back and eventually convinces Cosmo that they can't have a life together. She's a machine. And Cosmo gives her up and then regrets it.
That name, the name Cosmo sounds familiar. I've heard it before.
So it's that. It's the moment and the realization that you are responsible for the reason why she's in pieces and why you've got to collect her body parts. Stop laughing. I'm just gonna put this in there. I'm gonna put it alongside my other games, Little Inferno, Thomas Was Alone, in Wonderful, but at the end. God damn it, Damon.
It's got a bloody image in my head.
We'll stop that image. And last but not least, maybe not that high because we've already done a Resident Evil 1, but it's the zombie dogs jumping through the window in Resident Evil. A nice jump scare moment, but also to step up in the game from just being zombies to something more. And those dogs moving fast, and it's quite a moment. But probably just okay, right?
Yeah, just okay. Yeah. I mean, it's...
Top?
What's that?
Red Dead Redemption?
Down, I can't judge myself.
Let's put it top.
Yeah.
Not too bad though. We put 7 in iconic, and there are some iconic moments. Some of it, of course, is personal more than anything else.
Yeah, of course. Well, it's our opinion.
It is just our opinion. It's our list.
Yeah.
If you've got any thoughts on it though, you know what to do. Let us know in the comments.
Thank you very much for watching. If you liked what you saw, please help us out by giving us a thumbs up and hitting that subscribe button. If you really liked what you saw, consider donating to keep the website and channel running by buying us a coffee via our coffee page or picking up some merch from our Big Cartel store. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as via our social media, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. As well as listen to our interviews via SoundCloud, Apple Music and Spotify. Just search for GBHBL. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?